Okay, so this is a prayer. This prayer came from my sister, Julianne Jennings, who's a good friend of mine. Tabani Wuche, Akeke Sakak. Tabani Wuche, Nippy, Quaz Tabani Wuche, Metaqwash, Sakak. Katana Tabatne, hey, 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 ho. Thank you for the earth and sky. Thank you for the water and the rocks. Thank you for the trees and just for today. Great Spirit, I thank you. Great Spirit, I thank you. Hey, 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 aho. Quay, quay. Welcome, welcome. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here today and to be before all of you beautiful people. I thank you. I thank you for allowing me to bring forth the words that I have today, and I hope they will be a benefit to all people. Aho. This is a song that I wrote. It's called Nasquata Pumakan, which is the fire dance. And the fire dance is a special dance that we do with fire, obviously. Unfortunately, I don't have a dancer here today, but I do have this song that I wrote. Way hi-ya hoo, way hi-ya hoo. Way hi-ya hoo, way hi-ya hoo. Way oh, way ah, hey oh. Nasquata Pumakan. Way oh, way ah, hey oh. Nataya mosquito. Way oh, way ah, hey oh. Way hi-ya hoo, way hi-ya hoo. Way hi-ya hoo, way hi-ya hoo. Way oh, way ah, hey oh. Nasquata Pumakan. Way oh, way ah, hey oh. Nataya mosquito. Way oh, way ah, hey oh. Way hi-ya hoo, way hi-ya hoo. Way hi-ya hoo, way hi-ya hoo. Way oh, way ah, hey oh. Nasquata Pumakan. Way oh, way ah, hey oh. Nataya mosquito. Way oh, way ah, hey oh. Way hi-ya hoo, way hi-ya hoo. Way hi-ya hoo, way hi-ya hoo. Way oh, way ah, hey oh. Nasquata Pumakan. Way oh, way ah, hey oh. Nataya mosquito. Way oh, way ah, hey oh. Way hi-ya hoo, way hi-ya hoo. Way hi-ya hoo, way hi-ya hoo. Way oh, way ah, hey oh. Thank you, everybody, and thank you. This is my song. This is a song I wrote, and I hope you all enjoyed it. Hi, everybody. My name is Daryl Black Eagle Jamieson. I'm from the Pocasset Wampanoag tribe of the Pokanoket Nation. And I am here today. Unfortunately, I couldn't be present because I'm on tour with the Eastern Medicine Singers. But I thought I would offer a few words of wisdom and talk a little bit about sovereignty. One of the first things that comes to my mind for our tribe in sovereignty is the Watuppa Reservation. The Watuppa Reservation that is located in Fall River, Massachusetts. The Watuppa Reservation was originally inset in 1709 by colonial deed. Now, to get before the colonial deed, I'd like to talk a little bit about pre-colonial times, how things were here, how the Indian tribes were going and got along at that period of time in the 15 and 1600s. Life at that time was relatively simple. It was made up of the clan formation. The clan formation basically indicated a woman who was in charge of appointing the chiefs. She would be the clan mother. The clan mother was in charge of the entire clan of that family. And at that time, the clan mother was responsible for watching over the children, raising them, making sure they got the traditions, and making sure that they were with the men or the women or whoever they were orientated to be with. So they had the best knowledge of how people acted, how their beliefs were, how they treated other people. So that was of great importance to the tribes. So with that, the clan mother would pick the chiefs or the chiefs of the clan, and that would make up a council of chiefs. And then you would have your grand sachem of the tribe. So together, all of these individuals basically would rule the tribe and make sure the people got their needs met and things were going well within the tribe. So in the late 1500s, early 1600s, in our tribe, the chief actually was a man called Corbitant. And Corbitant had the Pocassets. We were in the middle, kind of like southeastern Massachusetts. And we were quite a big tribe at the time. From then until the King Philip's War, we had about 300 warriors that we could summon to do battle. Now, the Pocassets basically were a nomadic tribe. We moved. We did fishing in the summer and the spring, things like the herring run that came down the Nemasket rivers and other parts of the Narragansett Bay. We would take the herring, and that was one of the things that we call Suk'il wash, which means it's the early beginning of the season, and it's the time to plant the corn. So with the inception of Suk'il wash, we would go out and we would take the herring, not only to eat and to smoke for our people, but also to enhance a beautiful series of gardens to raise up the corn and put the nutrients in it. So we would put these gardens in different locations so that the people had plenty of food to grow and to keep everybody healthy and safe and be able to do things and move from one nomadic village to another. Because again, we never stayed in one place. We moved all over southeastern Mass. So the Pocassets, which were based in the area of Tiverton, Rhode Island today, Fall River, Massachusetts, Sonnet, all of those southeastern areas of what we call now Massachusetts and Rhode Island. At the time of the 1600s, we were all, basically a peaceful tribe that was just basically trying to clothe our families and keep our children fed and warm and ward off any enemies from other tribes that were trying to come in and take any food or anything from our territories. But relatively before the colonials got here, life was peaceable. You could go anywhere you wanted to. You would go swimming, you would take off, you would go on the hunt. There was plenty of food and there was plenty of game for our people to take. So it was a relatively good life for the nomadic people that were here, the indigenous people that we're talking about today. And of course, at that time, we were called not Wampanoags, but Pokanokets, the people of the bays. And so for the people of the bays, which were made up of about 39 different tribes at that time, we all traded and worked together with each other. And there was one grand sachem, which is called the Massasoit, the great leader, Massasoit. Massasoit, around the time of 1580 until the mid 1600s, was the Massasoit of the nations. And he would go to different villages and he would collect tribute for the tribe of the Pokanokets to keep everything going and to keep the trade routes open and everything. And he was basically in charge of the entire nation at that time. So it was a great time for the native people here to live and to be able to enjoy their lives. And don't get me wrong, it was hard work. There's a lot of work that had to be done constantly, and especially in preparation of the spring and summer times that were coming, because those were, the best times for us to harvest and to get things going. And then later in the fall, we would take the great harvest, so we would call the green corn, the green corn festival, when everything was ready to be taken and to be eaten, the corn, and we would prepare for the winter. These were some of the great things that our tribes did. And we used every part of every animal, every bush, every tree. All of it was medicine. You could go in the woods, you could take sassafras, you have milk thistle, so many, pine needle tea, so many different things that the tribes used at that time. And it was relevant to keeping everybody secure and everybody fed and everybody healthy. And then, of course, the colonists came. And because of the colonists came and they brought with them, different diseases from overseas that infected as they landed in the areas of southeastern Mass and Rhode Island. And a lot of our people at that time perished. One of the biggest ones was the Pocasset up towards Plymouth. They lost almost an entire village at that time, of the time of point of contact, because of the differences in the way that we lived and the diseases that were brought over that we weren't used to. So these are some of the things that happened to our people. And then, of course, as the colonists came, at first we were friendly, we all got along, we signed a great treaty of peace, which was from Massasoit, who was actually my 11th generation grandfather, and his real name was Osamequin. Osamequin meaning yellow feather. So Massasoit was a grand sachem of all those nations, and he basically took care of the needs of the people and made sure all the tribes were intermingling and working and had trade routes. So there was everything during those days. There was commerce, there was trading, there was wampum that was used for money, and there was fishing, there was hunting, and everybody provided for their families and their clans. Now we flip forward to the war, the King Philip's War in 1675, and basically the reason for that war was that people that moved in that were colonizing were greedy. They wanted all the land. They wanted to use everything that our people had. And they weren't very mindful of the degree of insult and the degree of greed and taking from our people that was causing. And that's basically what caused the King Philip's War. And of course, after King Philip's War, almost a year and a half of per capita the most bloody Indian war that ever was on the soil of the United States, involved most of the people that were in the colony and all of the tribes of the Pokanoket Nation. So we lost, obviously, when King Philip died, and he was his own people were traitors to him and killed him. A Indian called Alderman of the Suk'il tribe. So after that, all the Pokanoket people were hunted down. They were sold off into slavery, and the nation was still there, but it was not what it was. A lot of our people went to fight in other wars, the French and Indian wars, and some fought on the sides of the colonists against other native people. So it was a mission of conquering and colonizing the native people. And now, of course, what was left was some of the Indian lands, and they were slowly taken, sold off. Native people from all over the nation were tricked into reservations, and then partitioning those off into individual plots. And what happened was a lot of them were taxed and the native people lost a lot of their land because obviously they had no money. So they lost their lands. They were slowly taken and taken and taken until there were hardly any lands anymore. Now the Watuppa Reservation, which was a reservation where many of the people that had fought in the French and Indian Wars and had fought, some that had fought in King Philip's Wars, they were given that reservation as a last bastion, a last place to live. And from 1709 on up to today, it has been a battle to keep those lands and keep them communally, because a lot of the other tribes lost the communal tribal lands and therefore were displaced. A lot of them stayed in the areas and kept their communities together, thank God. The Pocassets were very fortunate. They had the Watuppa Reservation, which was originally in Rhode Island, and then moved to Fall River by the petition of the General Court of Massachusetts so that all of us could be together. So people have been living there since that time, and they're still living there today. There's still some of the remnants of our tribe that are there now, living there. So these are all remnants of those original people. And the Pocassets make up a lot of those original people that originally were in that area. And they're still doing a lot of the nomadic things that they were doing back in the early days of the 15 and 1600s. And of course, in 1907, again, the General Court of Massachusetts petitioned to take part of the lands that were given to us, the original acres that we had, which was approximately 200 acres in Fall River on the North Watuppa Pond. And mysteriously, a lot of the homes that were along the pond were burnt when everybody was out, and they were displaced. So a lot of them were living in and around the lands of the Watuppa, but we still held on to it. The people still fought many, many years to keep these lands, to stay on there. And there's a family on there that's had a house on there, the Perry family, they've been there since the beginning. And, thank God for the people that have stuck together in this tribe and tried to keep the tribe going. And the generations long ago would be proud to see that we're still standing up. The state of Massachusetts, or the Commonwealth as you call it, still tried to intercede and take lands and built around it. And a lot of the pristine land that was once hunting land is now gone, and it's surrounded by $500,000 houses, but half of our land still remains, and we're still there. We had to go to the Commission of Indian Affairs to help get a petition with the Attorney General's office to sustain that land still belonged to the Pocassets. And it still does after years of research and putting things together. This current tribe and council, headed by George Spring Buffalo as the chairman, and myself, Daryl Black Eagle Jamieson, as the vice chairman, we have been fighting for the last 20 years to keep our lands communal. We've been to court battles. We fought against the towns, the cities, the Fall River, DM police, countless people, and still we remain, and we're going to stay there forever. There's been a battle in the court system. Some of the original descendants got together back in 2004 and put together a battle, and we're still here. We're always going to be here. And I think that the people that are working in behalf of this tribe now and the descendants are all beautiful people, because they're standing up for their rights. They're standing up for the land that was given to them, for trading off of all their rights and all their lands so that other people could live here. So the actual reservation that we have now and the current things that we are doing with the headship of the the Pocasset Wampanoag tribe of the Pokanoket Nation has been amazing. We were able to secure lands in and around Tiverton, Rhode Island at this point. And we've also marked some of our places that are of great value to us, such as Sucker Brook, where there was a battle called the Sucker Brook Battle during the King Philip's War. We are now working with the Twin River Casino. We have an agreement with them because they were on part of our original land in Rhode Island that was done by agreement, without battle, without courts, with them in the state of Rhode Island, that we have rights to access on that land, and they're actually working with us to help us develop special sacred places for the tribe. And these are all things that are now underway by the Pocasset Pokanoket Land Trust, Inc., a nonprofit that we have formed to save lands and continue to keep our existence, our traditions, our growing. We also have an agreement to help with all the Pokanoket Nation, all the Wampanoag tribes, to help them get employment if they need it through the casino. Those are all things that we have done to keep great communication up and keep our sovereignty up. We deal directly with the state and federal governments at this point, and we are working in behalf of restoring land, making sacred places for our people to be able to go in comfort and to do the things that our ancestors did 200 and 300 years ago. And this is all beneficial work that's being done right now. Some of the most important work to keep these lands open. The beautiful land at Sucker Brook in Tiverton that we are working on right now, currently doing a trail system. And also we have acquired new lands around Sucker Brook, lands that we will be developing also to open space and to keep, beautiful wildlife restoration and things, everything that has to do with nature. And these things will all be for our people and other people to enjoy. And that's the way that we always wanted it. So the sovereignty, we have sovereignty because we deal directly with the governments. We always have and we always will. And a lot of beautiful things are happening right now for the Pocasset tribe of the Pokanoket Nation because of the devotion to the environment and to our people and to restoration and wildlife rehabilitation, the programs that we have to teach the children. These are all part of our sovereignty. And I think that our sovereignty as a recognized tribe in the Commonwealth of Mass and Rhode Island has done us well. And all of us have jobs. We all work in the private sector, and we're all still fighting to keep our rights, just as any other people would. So I thank you. I thank all of you for listening, and I apologize that I couldn't be there today. So I've sent you this video, and I hope that you get a lot of information out of it.